Hey everybody, welcome to my 2024-2025 Toy Room Tour. So this is going to be a tour of pretty much my entire collection as it is on the day that this video drops. So I'm starting off in the ThunderCats corner. So you can see that I have the Super 7 Thunder Tank and some vintage figures. Some Super 7 figures, and some loyal subjects, some reaction, and then a bunch of in-box stuff. So that's pretty much my ThunderCats. And I'll just come back to all the stuff that's mint on card that's on the wall. So next is Motu. So here's some mint on card figures. Got some Masterverse. Some more Masterverse. These are all the bad guys. I tend to really like the bad guys a lot more for Masters of the Universe. Here's some Super 7 and Masterverse mixed together. And as you can see, I'm pretty much out of room on that shelf. And then definitely one of my favorite new toy lines of the past year is the Turtles of Grayskull. So I have almost all of them. I don't think I have every single one, but yeah, again, pretty much out of room at this point. So please don't ask me where any others are going to go. And then I've got my pretty much just vintage. So these are vintage Masters of the Universe figures from the 80s. So that's my vintage shelf. Over here, I have more on-card Origins figures. I've got this little display here from the Mondo Skeletor. There's Too Bad. And then if I back up, here's all of my Origins figures. Origins, Castle Grayskull. And a bunch more Origins figures. Some more Origins. These are my Super 7 bad guys. Well, and Mattel Classic. So Classic / Super 7. And then my Origins Snake Mountain. With a bunch of bad guys. Some more bad guys. And then all of my Snake Men. So you can see, big fan of the Snake Men. And I got a bunch of customs and stuff as well. So if I back up, there's my one kind of display of Motu, and then it kind of wraps around to the other side. Alright, next is Marvel Legends. I don't have a huge collection of Marvel Legends figures, and I actually pared my collection down quite a bit this year. So I pretty much just have like classic comic book versions of the good guys and bad guys, X-Men, Spider-Man villains, and randoms. So just other figures, other versions of characters that I like. So there you go. So, small Marvel Legends collection. But, yeah, pretty much just stick to the comic book stuff at this point. I do have another kind of overflow shelf of Marvel Legends, as well as just some older Marvel figures. Big fan of, you know, characters like Captain America, X-Men, some of the villains, you know, some of the Iron Man variants, and the Wolverine. So, yeah, just kind of like, this is my overflow of Marvel figures. You know, a lot of these I could probably stand to get rid of. A lot, you know, some of them are like MCU figures that I don't really need. But for the amount of money I would get for them, it's really not worth selling them. So I just keep them out on the shelf. Next is my randoms. So this is just a whole bunch of random stuff. It's Super 7, it's NECA, it's Dragon Ball, Bucky O'Hare, Five Nights at Freddy's. I've got some Mortal Kombat, McFarland's. Got some Nintendo guys. So again, this is just like my random area. Super 7 Toxies. Some more random stuff here. These are my skeleton figures. A lot of these are just kit bashes or customs. So just a bunch of weird random things on that area. And then I've got little guys here. So some Super 7 Reaction, some Muscle, and Dino Riders. So again, if I back up, just my corner of randomness, and these are things that don't fit. So I've got Wuzzles and Mighty Max, some Fortnite stuff, and some Nintendo stuff. This is just stuff that I have no room for, so unfortunately it ends up on the floor. So this is probably the newest area of my collection. A lot of these figures I've had for quite a while, but I just got done kind of reorganizing these and shifting things around, moving stuff around, and all that. So I'll do a quick pan of what's up on the wall, mint on card. If you saw my previous toy room tour, this has not changed a whole lot. But you can see I've got some Marvel stuff on card. I've got Swamp Thing and a whole bunch of DC stuff on card. So not a lot of this has changed. I've made some additions to this in the last year, but this is pretty much the same as it was last year, with a couple additions kind of here and there. So you can see, again, vast majority is DC. And I've got my little couch with my helmets. And there is Serpentera and the Gold Ranger staff. This has pretty much not changed since Lightning Collection is basically dead. But here's my Lord Zed throne room. My Power Ranger Command Center is over there. If you've seen previous videos, you've seen that. This is kind of my messy corner. It's got all my bins of accessories and figures I don't have room for, and various weapons and various things for customizing. There's my little Power Ranger corner there. I did move my Super 7 figures there. The two newest DC figures are the Swamp Thing and the Demon, because again, running out of room. Some more DC stuff. A bunch of Power Ranger stuff that I've had for years and years. None of this has really changed since last year's Toy Room Tour video. Because again, I really just huge fan of Power Rangers, huge fan of the Lightning Collection, and unfortunately, they're not making these anymore. Got some customs I'm working on. You can probably guess which Power Ranger seasons those are. Titanus is actually a fairly new addition. I don't think I had him last year. Dino Charge and more Power Ranger Zords. Just Power Rangers in this section. So again, not a whole heck of a lot has changed in the Power Ranger collection. I've added a few figures here and there. I've got, of course, the Super 7 figures are newer, and then some customs. Then we get to my McFarland DC, which you can see totally out of room at this point. So it just kind of is what it is. But yeah, so these are all my McFarland DC figures. I mean, you would think I'm a huge fan of these figures, but I really don't collect all that much of it because I'm still a big fan of my DC Universe Classics, which I'll show you here in a second because not a lot of that has changed either. Here's all my Superman McFarlane characters and Lantern characters, DC icons, and then random DC stuff that hasn't changed much. So again, you can see that I have gotten quite a lot of McFarlane stuff, but I am pretty much out of room. So we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. So then, just real quick, these are all my DC Universe Classics figures. Not much has been added to this collection. I'm trying to think even what the last one that I added was probably the Colossal Boy and Elastigirl are probably the newest figures that I've added. So yeah, just, you know, again, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that the DC Universe Classics toy line, definitely my favorite toy line. Definitely one that I take a lot of pleasure in collecting. It's not complete, but it's pretty close, and I just really like it. But yeah, again, not a whole lot has changed in the DC stuff. And then, of course, the McFarland corner is over there. And then wrap it around here. This is my Superman area. So some new additions here, mostly, again, of course, McFarland stuff. But as you can see, I am a big, big Superman fan. So there you go. So that is my main toy room. And as I back up some more to give you a kind of a whole look at everything. Yes, the collection has certainly spilled out into other parts of the house. And I will show you that next. So now, as we leave the toy room and move into the living room, you can see I've got my G.I. Joe classified figures. These are all the bad guys. So there's Serpentor and Zaymot Tomax. I've got my custom water moccasin that I made from the Fortnite boat. So pretty proud of this. And then some more troopers. Love those, the snow troopers, and the Arctic backs are about there. And we've got the Crimson team here. So that is my G.I. Joe classified bad guys shelf. And then I've got my Battle Beasts. And then my G.I. Joe good guys. So here is G.I. Joe good guys. Some more good guys. Some more good guys. And a lot of customs or kit bashes, so I've just kind of made my own little army of G.I. Joe troops. And I've got the Dragonfly up there. So this is my G.I. Joe classified good guys. And then the last shelf is Transformers and dinosaurs and a bunch of other random stuff that I don't have any room for. All right. So swinging on over here, I've got some of my favorite Superman figures, Superman and related. Got some Spider-Mans, got Plunderlings, and I've got some statues and the McFarland Dark Side. So that is that little area. And then the newest thing that I've done with my collection, and if you're following me on Instagram, you maybe saw this picture about a week ago. I have done a shelf in the middle of the living room of all of my favorite villains. So I've got the main G.I. Joe villains, or at least my favorite G.I. Joe villains, kind of right there. And then we've got Magneto. So my Magneto collection, one of my favorite villains, definitely my favorite Marvel character of all time. Then we've got Goldar and Lord Zed from Power Rangers. So just an assortment of Goldar and Lord Zed figures. And then Skeletor. So all kinds of different Skeletors, Vintage, Origins, Masterverse, Mondo back there, of course. So just all kinds of different versions of Skeletor here. And then finally, Darth Vader. Just all kinds of different versions. So I did this for three reasons, okay? One reason, to make more room, which you can see that that's not going terribly well, but whatever. Another reason is just I've always wanted to kind of have my favorite bad guys kind of all together. And the third reason is now I have a spot for the Cobra Rattler when it comes out. So the Cobra Rattler is going to go right there on the top of this shelf, right above all the Cobra bad guys. So now I have a place for that HasLab when it comes out in a year or so. Coming over here, we've got Universal Monsters, mostly just Wolfman and Creature from the Black Lagoon. Some more Universal Monsters. Just all kinds of different versions of the Universal Monsters. And then one of my favorite parts of my collection is my vintage Superpowers collection. So some of these have, like third-party capes and stuff. But for the most part, these are in really good shape. And absolutely love these figures. Then we've got my McFarland Superpowers. We've got 2 shelves of McFarland Superpowers. That, of course, is the vintage Calabac Bomber. Then we've got my Star Wars Troopers. So just all kinds of different troopers there. I just like how all the troopers look together. So there you go. And then we've got Power Rangers Pyramidas up here. This is where I'm going to get the 3-0 red Zeo Ranger and gold Zeo Ranger. I'm going to put them on either side once they come out. Hopefully they'll come out soon. Then we've got the 4 Horsemen, Figura Obscura, Anubis, and Beset. And I've got all their, like, the background, and I've got the NECA Mummy in there. Then we've got more 4 Horsemen, Mythic Legions, NECA, just that kind of shelf of very, very cool-looking medieval-type figures. Then we've got the Boss Fight Studio Dinos. We've got the new Street Sharks. Whole bunch of randoms here. Got, Jada Toy, Street Fighter, and Mega Man. So just a bunch of random, kind of fun, not third party, but like smaller company stuff, I guess you would call this. And then some more vintage figures. So we've got vintage G.I. Joe, vintage Captain Planet, vintage Toxic Crusaders, got some Barnyard Commandos back there. And we've got the Ghostbusters Monsters, just some other, we got some Swamp Thing, just a bunch of other random figures there. And then finally we get to our big boys. All right, so we've got the Loose Collector Wolves. We've got the Cesare Studios Minotaur. We've got the white version of Veteran William. And these just look so cool all together. Just, the stuff of nightmares. Then I've got some other randoms here. We've got some Savage Crucible Lizard Men. Forget what company made that polar bear. We've got the owls from Dungeons and Dragons. We've got Zabu hanging out, and some Battletoads. So just some randoms there. Just, again, a lot of like smaller company type figures, except for the Sabretooth. Okay, and now we've got my AWOC figures. So yes, I did put the Super 7 other versions of Monkey in, because I thought that would be fun, and I like it. But these are mostly the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom figures by Sparrow Toys. So we've got these guys, and these guys, and these guys. So as you can tell, I'm a big fan of the AWOC toy line. Much more to come in the, next year or so. And that's about it. So this is kind of like, I know it's a lot, but it's kind of my spillover here. Because none of this, of course, would fit in the main toy room. So now it's in the living room. So that is going to finish up my toy room tour for this year. Please let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and have a good one.